It is time.
Tea time.
Jinx.
Wakanda?
This Wakanda?
Yeah, I don't know. We should be careful.
I do ninjas at home a lot. My co-director and executive producer knows about that. Yes.
Oh, which executive producer?
Oh,
I mean, you have 7 of them.
She's devastating. She's a devastating witch.
Well, we're starting off this episode especially coherent.
Yes, episode 399.
Yes.
Next episode we have a treat. Just you wait.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yes, we do.
Good. I'm doing this the traditional way here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And I am eyeballing these big, fluffy, soft, white tea leaves.
Denny asked to keep it fairly light today, so we are starting off with some white tea.
Yes.
Looks
from
like
River and Lakes.
Silver Needle.
Rivers and Lakes. Although I don't think it is it. I don't think so. No.
Yeah, this is a channel where we usually select the teas we do, and then we don't often research it.
Silver Needle tends to have leaves that are pressed.
Yeah, it looks a little different, doesn't it? But they do look needle-like.
But very beautiful looking.
So from Zhenghe Fujian.
Drink this. First steeping, most likely. We'll give it a shot and see what it looks like. But I think we will. Yeah. All right. Look at that smell.
And this is actually probably the first autumn filming session we've had. Last few have been summer, so
yeah, more or less.
Season has changed.
Indeed. And white tea. Some white teas are perfect for this time of year. They have a kind of a baking spice, autumnal feel to them a little bit.
Mm-hmm. How's this one?
This one's interesting. Yeah, I get on the nose. I get a very it's almost a kind of a grassy, seaweedy smell to it. But I know it's going to be sweet and
yeah, it does
fresh.
really have those fresh flavors. To me, this feels more like a spring summer tea.
Sure, definitely.
Although
definitely.
Of course we can enjoy this now too.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. But a nice soft tea to start your work day potentially.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna go ahead.
We almost always do these white teas first or second.
Right.
What do you think it'd be like if we did it after like a really strong pour? Like, would we just not be able to taste it?
Yeah, I think it would just be harder to tell.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
It's not even that it's bad necessarily. Just pours tend to be so strong.
It's true. Yeah.
Alrighty, let's do it.
Is this drink?
Yeah, let's drink it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Very refreshing. We just ate some pho, so this is kind of a really nice palate cleanser after that. Pretty simple first steep. Not a ton of flavor, but some nice texture, some sweetness, some of those like fresher flavors.
Definitely, and I like the fresh greenness of this. There's a little bit again of that seaweedy kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think this is a good one to start off with for sure.
Definitely, to me, has a bit more of a greener profile than more of a floral profile. Not that both are there, definitely, but getting a bit more of the green stalk of the honeysuckle than I am the flowers of the honeysuckle.
Okay.
Cheers. Very light. Some of these white teas can be extremely viscous. This one's not as viscous.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing.
A little more about that silk texture in this one.
Yeah. Almost a hint creamy on this one. Very interesting. I don't know.
So, Denny, you probably drink more white tea than I do. How typical would you say this white tea is compared to, others?
Not as typical.
Not as typical?
No.
Okay.
The verdant green flavor that we're getting from this, there's kind of like there's like a greenness to a young pu'er, like a raw pu'er, that's really aggressive and strong, and you can tell it promises intensity. There's kind of like a greenness to this that's like underripened almost. not just picked a bit sweeter than or a bit earlier than it would be super sweet.
Right.
Just a bit more of a vegetal process in the life cycle of the plant. Really interesting. I like it. It's not as there's a bit more complexity.
I wonder how much like the weather, because white tea, of course, is sun dried. Weather impacts what the tea, how much of like a process that is, where they have it like systematized, where there's some machines and stuff. Because it's like if it's like an overcast day, it would dry very differently than if it's like a very sunny day.
Definitely.
It's like if you tried to make white tea in like an overcast Seattle day, it's like, yeah, you might be drying those tea leaves for quite some time.
Totally.
Anyways, just some food for thought. And I also realized that I'm an idiot, and the name is right there. It's Mu Dan Wang, white tea. Not familiar with that type, actually. So definitely not a silver needle.
Yeah. I'm enjoying this. It's really interesting. Again, I would say out of what I would call a traditional white tea flavor profile. Not like radically different, but just a bit more green and vegetal.
Yeah.
Cheers.
It's holding up well to the hot water. I think we're using boiling here, so.
Yeah, it's my favorite steeping, definitely.
Definitely the strongest.
Has a bit more of the baking flavors now, a bit middle tones, is not as crisp and fresh.
Yeah.
Really easy to drink.
Yeah. Mom test?
Approved. Mom test approved. Stamp of mom test approval.
Big Tomato is calling me. They are not happy with this episode because I don't have any tomato vines in this episode. What are you gonna do?
All right, cut. Okay. So, and this is gonna be. This is fresh boiling water for steeping. Gonna push this one to see the most so we can get out of this, and it's gonna be done at this point.
Yeah.
One thing that's really satisfying about green tea, white teas, black teas, maybe some yellow teas is, look, they don't last that long. You have 3-4 steepings with this tea. If you really wanted to go crazy, you could try to push it to 5, but you're not going to do that great with it, honestly.
Yeah.
It's kind of convenient to have a steeping or a session rather that just like has a time limit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, especially for some of the pours, like the higher end pours, especially when they get a little pricier, and they also last longer. Right. It's like you feel a certain obligation to go a lot of steeps.
You're like 3 days later, you're like re-steeping it in the morning, like having had no food, so you can taste. You're like, oh, there's still a hint of non-water in there.
I guess I got to keep going. But yeah, that is a pro and a con in a way, because yeah,
totally. But these teas meant to be had fresh and young, for the most part, do great like that. They're meant to be enjoyed quickly, and the good thing about that too is that the price range won't be quite as drastic as something like a puer. You can definitely get some variety, but so. Would I do something like age a tea like this? No, not at all. So light and soft. Aging it would just turn it into like a nothing puff.
A nothing puff?
Yeah. TeaDB.
Is that a Pokemon? Nothing puff?
Probably. Cheers.
Very consistent. Just this one's a little more in that sweet honey variety.
Totally, yeah. Even maybe a little bit of corn sweetness too, kind of like some of those black teas. Just a little bit, not as like spicy, smoky, or earthy at all, but just a little bit of that sort of corn syrup sweet.
Yeah.
Really pleasant, easy to drink. Mom test approved.
Yeah.
Probably grandpa style this without too much issues.
Ultralight.
Ultralight, yeah, 100%. Really tasty. Rivers and Lakes tea. This is the Mu Dan Wang.
Yep, white tea, 2021. We even have an exact harvest date there.
Yeah, wow, cool.
April 4th, 2021.
So grab it.
Not sure what time zone that was in, or what time, so do better next time.
Yeah, we need an area code.
Yeah. It's okay, our palates are good enough. You saw that episode a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
We got that latitude and longitude down to the 12th decimal.
And the NSA has actually been studying how my brain can do that. It's weird.
They're watching us.
So we will see you guys. If you enjoyed the video, like the video. If you didn't, that's okay. Don't like it, whatever.
Yeah.
Subscribe if you want. YouTube channel, you can do that. You can go to TeaDB.org where there are written articles, lots of content.
Yep.
And we will see you guys on episode 400 with our very big planned special that we're planning on for episode 400. We'll see you guys then.
Cheers.
Cheers.